dear viewers, this is Fine TV Gambia, your only viewpoint. And of course, it is your program titled, let's talk about it. And of course, today with Mr. Madi Jobarteh, a human rights activist, and of course, a staunch advocate for, democracy and good governance in this country and worldwide. So it's a pleasure, Mr. Jobarteh, to have you on our platform today. And then we look forward to a fruitful discussion.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on your platform for the first time. So I look forward to the conversation.
So now we just move into agriculture. Then from there, we delve into the to draft constitution. So you've been here since Jaro's regime, Mr. Jobarteh. How would you rate the sector from Jaro's time to Jammeh's time and now to Barrow's time?
It's disaster. It's disaster. So sometime 2018 or 19, they brought a loan agreement to the National Assembly. A multi-million-dollar loan agreement, the Gambia and another entity, to say there is for support to small-scale farmers, women and youth in URR and CRR areas, something like this. I went to some NAMs. I told them, don't approve this agreement. I told them, go to Minister of Finance, look for the 8 bulletin. There are 8 bulletin. You will see between 2012 to 2015, the number and the amount of aid, loans and grants for agriculture that entered this country. I said, I did my calculation, it amounted to over $2.3 billion. And the projects in that period, they are the same projects as this project. So before you approve this, ask the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Finance, what difference did those loans and grants make?
Before approving all that.
Before approving.
Quite important.
They refused. They said, if they don't approve, the government will say, NAMS, we brought a project for women and youth, and NAMS are rejected it. I said, tell the people why you reject it.
Certainly.
Yeah. So this is to say, one area where there is incredible stinking corruption and incompetence is the agriculture sector.
That's what many accuse of.
Yeah, the Minister of Agriculture is utterly useless, run by officials who care nothing about the food security, food self-sufficiency, farmers, and agriculture in this country. Look, this country is one of the most endowed countries on earth. Look at the structure of the Gambia. You ask yourself, which country is structured like the Gambia? It has a river in the middle that is never dry. From Banjul to Koina, that river is always flowing. Half of it is salt water, half of it is sweet water, fresh water. And they can all be used for agriculture.
Certainly.
You go to Combos, Tifonia and Combos, so what people are farming. Yes, very well. You go to CRR, LRR, all the way to URR, people are farming. So we have water that cuts across land that is fertile. Yes, the Gambian land, because it is not rocky. There are no rocks in this country. There are no mountains in this country. In other countries, you will see how they cut mountains. You look at a mountain, you see layers, of crops, different types of crops. The struggle to cut that, flatten the mountain, into steps to grow. We don't have that problem. Yeah, it's flat. And not just flat, it has no rocks, it is smooth. If you want to run a pipe from Banjul to Khartoum, 40 kilometers, in another country, there is no river. And it's like 1,000 kilometers before you get water. So in Khartoum, there is a river there, in fact. So what is the problem? You have an able-bodied population, a healthy population, ready for farming, who knows farming. Since time immemorial, people are farming. So All what we require is a government, a Ministry of Agriculture, to put in the proper strategies, make the proper investments, so that Gambia will not only feed itself, but we are going to feed the rest of the world. You
Certainly.
look at a country like Thailand, Netherlands in Europe, Netherlands. It is not bigger than the Gambia in land size. In fact, we have more land than Netherlands because those people, I think, 90% of their land is what. But are we not getting our pumpkin
Yeah.
from Netherlands, our
It's,
eggs,
it's sad.
and butter and things like that? That's all agricultural products. So, and you go to Ministry of Agriculture, probably it has the highest number of PhD holders, well
PhD,
educated.
crop science.
Yes, but you go there, FASDEP, LADEP, JIP,
If you-
NEMA, CHOSO, ABC, XYZ, 123, all sorts of projects. All sorts of projects. I'm not sure they can even count how many projects they have. Everywhere,
They're
project
multiple.
implementation unit, they go and build a big building, they say public project implementation unit. But what do you deliver?
It doesn't reflect.
Nothing. Jahali Pachar can feed this country, can satisfy our rice needs, and so on.
And then even farmers there right now
Yeah,
complaining for
yeah, yeah.
fertilizer,
And all you can
machines.
tell us, we have reduced fertilizer from 150 to now, we've reduced $50 from price of fertilizer. Is that not a shame? You cannot feed yourself. That rice, you cannot feed yourself. So, again, but to go back to the original point, we have a government uh, that is incompetent, that is corrupt, that is inefficient, that is not interested whatsoever in the development of this country. Just like it is in um, agriculture, every sector is the same. So that even if they do their best, you realize it's not even enough. It's at the minimum. What they could have done by now should be far more than that. So this is the
It's,
situation.
it's sad. From your own perspective, Mr. Jobarteh, what or how would you rate, the living conditions of Gambians as of now?
Yeah, I think the living conditions are very terrible, very difficult for the majority of Gambians in all respects, whether it's about, you know, feeding oneself, the ability to get food for the family because of the high prices of food, um, whether it is about obtaining services such as water and electricity, which are erratic, and expensive. I don't walk around and see any Gambian tell you I'm satisfied.
Really?
The day is good. I mean, anyone you ask, how are you? We are managing it. So it's a terrible situation we are in. So this is the situation.
Interesting. So, that is clearly, what is happening. So, Mr. Jawadi, you figured out reasons, leading to this. Now, what do you think could be the remedy to solve this issue as soon as possible, or, for governments to have better living condition?
So it's a combination of factors. I mean, in the first place, it is to point to the government of its legal and constitutional and political obligation to govern this country according to the rule of law, to perform and deliver according to the rule of law. We have to highlight that. That, for me, is number one solution. Because what is happening is because you are not acting, performing, delivering according to the rule of law. So government has to go back and perform according to the rule of law.
So, Mr. Jawadi, to continue, you've been a staunch advocate for security sector reform in the Gambia since 2017. So, what do you really have to say regarding this aspect since the coming into, since the coming of President Barrow's government in early 2017?
Yes, so I am not satisfied with level and the pace of security sector reform. Um, I think, you know, by now we should have been at a very high level. And the whole idea is we did a security setup which serves the needs of the people and does not um, um, bring hardship, does not commit violations, against the people. Um, so a security sector that is professional, security institutions that are professional, that are transparent, accountable. Yes. Unfortunately, we are yet to obtain a level that I would say is satisfactory. Instead, in fact, I see a retrogression taking place. But we have seen the police uh, refuse citizens to protest for no reason. Absolutely no reason. There's no justification to deny citizens to protest in this country since 2017. I have not seen any justification. They've denied citizens to protest multiple times. But even where they give permit, you look at the way and manner they give
Conditions
permit.
are laid down.
Yes, the conditions basically tantamount to denial. Yes, because they will tell you go and protest in the bush, for example. Sitting corner, Bond Road. That is the bush. Who is going to protest in the bush? For what? Or go and protest for 2 hours. How can you tell citizens what authority does the IGP have to tell citizens, no, you can only protest for 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours? Or they tell you go and protest from that end to that 100 meters. So these are all mechanisms, or they tell you anyone who insults you will be responsible for that. Now, these are all conditions intended to deny citizens to protest. And it doesn't help the democracy and the peace and stability of this country.
You've been here since Jaurus Mr. Jobarteh. How would you rate the sector from Jaurus time to Jammeh's time and now to Barrow's time?
It's disaster. It's disaster. So, sometime 2018 or 19, they brought a loan agreement to the National Assembly. A multi-million dollar loan agreement, the Gambia and another entity, to say there is for support to small scale holder farmers, women and youth in URR and CRR areas, something like this. I went to some NAMs. I told them, don't approve this agreement. I told them, go to Minister of Finance, look for the 8 bulletin. There are 8 bulletin. You will see between 2012 to 2015, the number and the amount of aid, loans and grants for agriculture that entered this country. I said, I did my calculation, it amounted to over $2.3 billion. And the projects in that period, they are the same projects as this project. So before you approve this, as the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Finance, what difference did those loans and grants make?
Before approving or
Before approving.
Quite important.
They refused. They said, if they don't approve, the government will say, NAMS, we brought a project for women and youth, and NAMS are rejected it. Again, but to go back to the original point, we have a government that is incompetent, that is corrupt, that is inefficient, that is not interested whatsoever in the development of this country. Just like it is in agriculture, every sector is the same. So that even if they do their best, you realize it's not even enough. It's at the minimum. What they could have done by now should be far more than that.
Recently, the government, let me say the cabinet, has gazetted a new drafted constitution And of course, I mean, there is a big saga going on right now. I mean, the human rights activists, I mean, good governance, I mean, advocates, I mean, have described this, I mean, constitution as not fit for purpose. I mean, because, I mean, it is, many things has been changed that, I mean, were captured in the 2020 draft constitution. So we will focus on only a few key important things because of time. So the first thing we will discuss is the presidential term limit as captured in this, I mean, drafted constitution. So, Mr. Wade, what is your take on the presidential term limit that is already embedded in this draft constitution?
Um, First, I don't call it a draft constitution. I call it Barrow papers. Yeah, because Mr. Barrow or his cabinet, they don't have the authority to write a constitution for the Gambia. So for me, what they did is illegal. All right, to take the 2020 draft, which is what came from the opinions of Gambians, after having killed it, all right, in 2020, 4 years later, you take it and edit it and then want to impose it on the people. That is criminal, that is illegal. So I don't dignify that as a constitutional draft constitution. I take it as Barrow's papers.